I recently gave you my top 10 worst decisions in the Halloween franchise, so it's only fitting that I tell you my 10 best decisions of the Halloween franchise.
Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Wolfman's got Nards!
Now, my top 10 best decisions is probably based on the taste for me, how I wanted to see the franchise go. So my top 10 might be completely different to your top 10, but here we go. In at number 10 is the introduction to new characters in Halloween 4. We've got Jamie Lloyd and we've got Rachel. Those two characters were pivotal to Halloween 4 and moving forward with the franchise, because we no longer, at this point, we no longer had Laurie Strode as the main character, so we need that new character that we can get behind. Not only did we get one of those in Jamie Lloyd, we got two. We also got Rachel Carruthers, so I think that bringing in two new characters was a risk, but a risk worth taking and one that paid off. And at number 9 was the new direction and the reboot again of the Halloween franchise in 2018. Now, this decision wasn't for everyone, because a lot of people did like the sister aspect of Laurie and Michael, and I liked that as well. That was a good aspect because I liked that similar trilogy that we had, Halloween 1, Halloween 2 and Halloween H2O. But we got a new direction. I think that was the best way to go at this moment in time because of what we got previously with the end of Resurrection, and then obviously we got a hiatus, and then we got the Rob Zombies 2 movies as well. So where else do we go with the direction of Michael Myers? So I think that that was a good direction and one of the best decisions that they could have made for this franchise. And at number 8, and it was similar to number 9, is we're bringing back Laurie Strode, and again that was the best decision in my opinion because I hated the Thorn cult. So to bring back Laurie Strode and to forget about a lot of things that happened in the previous movies was the best decision for me. Again, this isn't for everyone because I know that some people do like the Thorn cult, and that's fine, but for me I wanted a more grounded Michael Myers, a more grounded movie in the Halloween franchise, and what better way to do that than to make it more grounded but also bring back Laurie Strode. She didn't die officially, because I know that they said she did die, but she died off screen, so they're not bringing her back in the same way they did with the 2018 movie, because she did officially die in Resurrection, so they're rebooting that one, whereas in this one they're not bringing her back to life because she didn't officially die on screen. So she said she faked her death, which means that they're not really rebooting her character, they're just bringing her back because she officially didn't die. And at number 7 comes the cliffhanger in Halloween 4. Now, I wasn't a fan of the cliffhanger in Halloween 4, but I think it was a great decision because it left viewers with an open mouth. They were completely shocked as to what we saw, what happened in Halloween 4, because it was similar to the beginning of Halloween 1978. Michael Myers' niece has now become this Michael Myers. Sadly, we didn't get anything else after that in Halloween 5, but the fact that they had the balls to do something like that in Halloween 4 was amazing. So I think that was one of the best decisions at the time. And at number 6 is ignoring the Thorn cult in Halloween H2O. Now, I know you're probably thinking, we already mentioned that. Well, lower down on my list was bringing back Laurie Strode for Halloween H2O. I thought that was important. However, I think what was more important is getting the storyline right. I would have accepted Halloween H2O without Laurie Strode, as long as they went ahead without the Thorn cult. So even without Laurie Strode being in there, I think it was more important for me for them to just ignore the Thorn cult completely. And even if they didn't ignore it, maybe if they acknowledged it but didn't do anything with it in Halloween H2O, that would have been acceptable for me. But the fact that they completely just brushed over it was the best decision for me for H2O. And at number 5 was the unknown motive for Michael Myers in the original Halloween. I'm not just talking about why he's killing people in Halloween 1, because we didn't know that it was his sister at the time, and it wasn't his sister at the time. He was just randomly killing people. That was scary enough, but I think when you go back to 1963 in the beginning, when Michael Myers killed his sister and then he went into the sanitarium and never spoke a word for 15 years, that was scary because you had an unknown motive. Why did he kill his sister? Something that I don't want to know, something that we didn't need to know from, for example, the Rob Zombie movies. We didn't need to know why he was killing people. We just needed to know that he killed someone and he was back out a few years later, 15 years later or so, and killing people again. That's scary. So the unknown motive was probably one of the best decisions that John Carpenter could have thought of. And then number 5 is having Halloween 2 set in the same night as Halloween 1, so it's more of the night he came home. If you're going to do a sequel to a movie that was so good in 1978 but have a 3-year hiatus, it's going to be hard to set it on the same night because the actors are different now, different haircuts, obviously with Laurie Strode, and obviously the mask that they used was a bit more used, so they had to go with what they got. But I think they, even though they had a different director and Rick Rosenthal, they still made it feel seamless. It still felt like the same night. It still felt like they filmed it back to back, and that's very impressive, especially for back in 1981. And with the budget that they had, even though they had a bigger budget, they still had a limited budget with what they could do, and I think they worked wonders with that. So setting it on the same night was a great decision because Halloween was so big back then, and it got bad reviews to begin with, but people loved it after a year or so. So when they wanted to make a sequel to it, why not set it on the same night? It was a great decision. And at number 3 was bringing back Michael and Dr. Loomis for Halloween 4. Now they did try and test Halloween 3 Season of the Witch with no Michael Myers. As much as I loved that movie, it didn't work back in the day. It's a cult classic now, Season of the Witch, but it didn't work back in the day because you just didn't have Michael Myers. So waiting a good while, waiting 10 years in the timeline aspect, and obviously 7 years from Halloween 2, they're bringing back Michael Myers. They've made him survive the explosion in Halloween 2, but not only that, they bring back Dr. Loomis, one of the best characters in the whole entire franchise. So that's a double whammy. You're bringing back Michael and you're bringing back Dr. Loomis. So fans are going to get their butts on the seats to go and see this again because it's been so long to see Michael and Loomis battle out again on the big screen. And at number 2 is Michael's disappearance at the end of Halloween 1. We didn't know what to expect in the first Halloween movie when we first seen it. There was no sequels. We didn't know how much of a supernatural force Michael was. So all the way through the movie we were expecting him to get killed. And eventually he got killed and he fell over the balcony. And then for the first time seeing this movie, looking down as Dr. Loomis and no one's there, that sends chills down your spine because you don't know what to expect. And that was a master decision again from John Carpenter. And then number 1 is killing Michael off for the very last time in Halloween H2O. Again, Halloween H2O I see as the end of the original franchise, chopping his head off and it's done. I know they tried to explain it in Halloween Resurrection and it just didn't work and that was a complete mess. But I think if you're going to kill Michael Myers, this is the way to do it, chop his head off, because this is the 7th movie in the franchise, 6 if you don't include Season of the Witch, and he's been shot, stabbed, burned alive and still come back. So you have to think of a way to kill him off for good, knowing that he can't come back, and what better way to do it than just to chop his head off. So that's the top 10 best decisions for me, guys. I know that your opinions might be completely different to mine, especially your number 1, but I'd like to know your thoughts down below. What do you think of my top 10 best decisions, and what would be your best decision in the whole entire franchise?
Comb your hair.
As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching again. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.